my name is Rebecca Shepard. I'm here today with my partner Peter Huckabee, and we are here to talk about the slew of disallowance letters the IRS has issued for employee retention credit claims in the last few weeks. On June 20th, the IRS announced that they were going to start processing claims that were deemed to be eligible or most likely eligible and issue disallowance letters for 10 to 20% of claims in which the IRS has determined the businesses are ineligible or highly likely to be ineligible. So over the last several weeks, the IRS has issued 28,000 disallowance letters, mostly for issues such as your business is not operating a trade or business, there are not sufficient government orders or significant decline in gross receipts to create eligibility for the employer, and whether or not you filed a claim in Q3 of 2021. Those are the majority of the letters that we have received and that we have seen in this space. So Peter, how much information does the IRS have when issuing these disallowance letters?
Right, so truly very little, and this has been an issue with the Form 941X that was used to claim the credit in the first place. Is there's very little information that's provided, to explain eligibility, why someone thinks they're eligible. The only real unique bit of information that's on a Form 941X claim to claim the employee retention credit is the status as a recovery startup business. So one of the other things we've seen is notices that are coming and saying, essentially, you didn't check the box, identifying yourself as a recovery startup business, and so we don't believe that you should be eligible, for the credit.
So there's actually a couple of problems with these notices that went out. Can you start kind of explaining to employers what they should be looking out for, how much time they have to, appeal that decision if there's an issue with the disallowance letter? What can a business do in this case? Right,
so this just brings us back to traditional tax controversy work, and what is happening is this disallowance sets into motion, certain administrative processes and requirements, and so the big requirement is there's a 30-day time period in which to protest the disallowance to make sure that you can try to work this out with the IRS in an administrative function. We have spoken recently about issues related to litigation and those types of things. This also sets into process a 2-year time frame to file a lawsuit against the government. But in most circumstances, taxpayers are going to want to try to work this administratively with the Independent Office of Appeals before going to court.
So some of these letters inadvertently forgot to give the taxpayer appeal rights. The IRS has said this is a mistake, they are going to correct it, and that every disallowance does have a right to appeal through the Independent Office of Appeals. So if you get a notice and it does not give you these explicit appeal rights, make sure you call the IRS and understand where you should send your protest, when is it due. It's going to be 30 days from the date of the notice. Most likely there will be a subsequent notice that gets issued correcting that appeal issue, but just in case, it's best to be on the safe side and file the protest with the notice that you have. And then, like Peter said, make sure that you're calendaring 2 years out to be sure that you don't lose any rights to file a refund claim, because if this is not resolved within 2 years in appeals, then you lose those rights to file that district court action.
And it's important to make sure you don't have any foot faults when you're doing these protests. There are some very specific things that need to be put in the document before you send it off to the exam for them to then forward it on to appeals. Nothing too challenging or too difficult, but you got to make sure that you have all the right things in there.
So most importantly, watch your mailbox. Make sure you are paying attention. If you get a notice, open it, call a tax professional, make sure that you understand what your rights are and whether or not you should protest it or whether or not the claim is inaccurate, like the IRS thinks that it is, and that you should allow the disallowance to stand. So if you've got any questions, feel free to give us a call. We hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.